Right then, this is a quick walk around video. This is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 EX automatic diesel. Really lovely car. Low mileage one as well. I've completely forgotten the mileage. I think it's 49,000. Wow, my brain's not working this morning. I'll check that when we get back in the car. It's fitted with some lovely options on the car. Notably, it's got what they call the urban styling pack, so little trims under the front and rear bumpers. It's also got the side steps, high level rear spoiler, door protectors. It really is a lovely looking car, and it is in fantastic condition. Excuse me, the weather's one of those four seasons day. It came out bone dry, got a little sprinkle of rain. It was really frustrating, but I've got to try and get these done where I can. But the car is very clean indeed. Front of the car rather, lights and lenses are clear and intact. Bonnet very clean, so it's speckled with rain now unfortunately, but it is incredibly clean. Near side of the car, beautifully smooth in the panel work. Can't see any obvious indentations there at all. Near side front alloy, absolutely beautiful condition, and that's the one that generally takes all of the bashing. And in panels here, absolutely fantastic. Near side rear alloy, again, lovely condition. Always my favourite angle from the back with the high level rear spoiler. Little silver trim at the bottom there. Fantastic on the car. It's all really subtle, but it just works so well. It just gives the car a real kind of presence, a really lovely stance, especially again with the side steps fitted. Yeah, very clean around the back, as with the offside of the car, which again shows virtually no indentations at all. Well, there are no indentations that I can see. Offside rear alloy, again, really good. And panel work is lovely. By the way, the reason I do these videos, if it's a sunny day in the shade, especially this time of year, is because you can see any marks or scrapes or dents more clearly than in bright sunshine. So it's the opposite of trying to hide anything. It's trying to find anything I possibly can. But that, for a car that age and mileage, is in absolutely lovely condition. Let's come to the back of the car now. Absolutely cavernous boot area. CR-Vs generally used for family use, so it means the back of the cars here and the rear seats are normally incredibly heavily used, scraped or marked, and yet this one has been kept absolutely beautifully. Coming to the back now, wide opening rear doors, gives you access there, and the leg room's incredible, and the front seats are set for me, so I'm not cheating. I'm over 6 foot tall, and that's about as little amount of leg room as you'll see. Leatherwork has been kept beautifully well. Coming to the front on the passenger side, full set of original Honda mats in the car. Passenger seat there, not been given an awful lot of use in all honesty. Coming to the front now, door card again in lovely condition, same as with footwell areas. Driver's seats again for age and mileage, absolutely incredibly clean. So inside the car now, engine's running as I always have, so the dashboard can be seen illuminated. Dashboard, to all intents and purposes, looks like new. It's in beautiful condition. Sat nav, you can see, working exactly as it should. Just pop the car into reverse, and you get that lovely clear gridded parking camera. Again, all working exactly as intended. It's been kept simply beautifully. To come to the main dash binnacle, I was hopelessly out, wasn't I? 43,000 actually, 443 miles. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all, but it is in really lovely condition in here. You won't see many as clean as this. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 EX automatic diesel. This particular car is registered LX13LSE and has a mileage of just 43,443 recorded. The reason for all the videos we do, especially actually this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's actually looking online at the car in the advert, or any of our cars, they actually get to see that very car in operation. The reason we feel it's important is very simple indeed. It's because, like so many people, we've been to see cars which look absolutely fine in photographs or description, but only to get them find out it's got an obvious fault that shows up whilst driving the car. So hence that's why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire. I apologise straight away, by the way, it's relatively early in the morning, so got a low sun and a wet road, so it might get a bit glary at times on the video, so I do apologise, but I try and have to squeeze them in where I can. This actually forms, by the way, part of the road test route we take our customers on, so the theory being hopefully it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, been very, very, very well looked after this vehicle. Wonderful history attached to the car, and it is immediately obvious when you drive it. I am biased, I love these cars. I own one, my wife owns one. We've owned every generation of CR-V, including the very latest style ones. And I have to say, out of all of the CR-Vs, the 2.2 EX automatic diesel is probably my favourite, just as an all-round car. But that's a complete side issue. Coming to the things I always check on any car, engine starts, push-button starts on these top-of-the-range vehicles, starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running into third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. The engines are an absolute peach. In terms of kind of diesel engine, so it's just the parking sensors picking up on the side. It's just it's what you want from any diesel. So it's strong, reliable, designed to do exactly what it's meant to do. But being a Honda, it's also very civilised. It's smooth. It's quiet, especially on a cruise. They've got a reputation for being incredibly strong and reliable over quite enormous mileages, with just good regular maintenance. But it is a fabulous unit. Cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts to worry about in them either, by the way. Engine then feeds through into the auto gearbox, which is a really good match for the engine. And that actually isn't always the case, bizarrely enough, with turbo diesels and autos. I've driven some which just don't go together very well at all. This does. The auto box in these, by the way, harks back to the old Honda legend, believe it or not, because Honda didn't have an automatic strong enough, because they sold predominantly petrol engine cars with much lighter on torque. So rather than design a completely new gearbox, complete engineering overkill, they just used the legend gearbox in this one, which means it's, we've never touched one. They're as close to bulletproof as you can possibly hope to get. But what it gives you is a very slick shifting, good old school, tough gearbox. Brilliant for towing with, because we tow a caravan with ours, and it's a lovely gearbox for that. Notwithstanding reputation, you should always do the same checks on any auto box. Just make sure that the gear shifts on the move are smooth, and they are in this sense, they're perfect. But also when you select drive or reverse from stationary, there shouldn't be any great clonks as it engages gear, and again, nothing at all. Coming to the steering on the car, again, Honda, the CR-V is the best-selling SUV in the world, and there's a very good reason for it, because it's so car-like to drive and just so pleasant to drive. So they get it all right, and ignore completely the motoring press when they talk about, it's a bit dull, it's a bit this, it's about that. Yeah, it is. In reality, it's just a really lovely car to drive, but it's not sporty in any way, shape or form. But that's not to say it's not accomplished, it's not competent, because it is. It's more than that, because basically its design criteria is very simple. It's here to ferry yourself, but probably your family around comfortably, and it does that superbly well. It starts with the steering, which incidentally tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, but you've got lovely weighting to the steering. It's really precise, it's really accurate, it's reasonably quick for this type of car, but it works beautifully with the chassis. Because the chassis, what it gives you, and the reason I talk about in this section of road, because it's a horrible surface. There's no clonks, rattles, nothing at all, so it's all perfect in that sense. But it rides really well. It's got a very kind of sophisticated suspension in terms of how it feels. The suspension sort of is really well damped, because basically it's trying to achieve two things, you know, give you a comfortable ride, but also be okay through the corners, and it does that brilliantly. That's what's so clever about the car. You know, through the corners, you know, because it's a tall upright car, if you really push hard on the car, you'll get a lot of body roll, but most people don't. So for 99% of your driving, it flows through corners really well. It's very clever in the way it's done that. You know, I've driven challenging roads going up to see my brother in, you know, North Wales, and you know, some lovely roads up there which are great for sports cars, and this deals with them brilliantly. But what it's so clever at is the, you know, the rear seat passengers, who generally got their heads down in their phones or whatever else. You know, it can be quite a nauseating experience in the back of this type of car, and my kids who suffer from it terribly don't get it in the CR-Vs, which is why we've had one after another. It's a really good car. I'm just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, get around the corner, make sure that no one behind me. Just hold on to my things. But really good solid brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is good initial bite, but also no kind of pulsing or vibrations, and there's none at all. Worth pointing out, by the way, that once we finish this, we've done the service on the car, it's going to be heading off for an independent MOT, so these things are going to be checked anyway. Finally coming inside the car, first thing you notice is just how well put together these things are. I mean, this is it's low mileage, but it is still 10 years old, but there's absolutely no squeaks or rattles at all, and that's normal for the CR-Vs of this vintage. They are beautifully put together cars, but it's also a lovely place to sit. You know, you've got brilliant visibility all around, particularly at the front. I can actually see the bottoms of the car, which by modern standards is a miracle. You've got these massive, almost van-like wing mirrors, so if you're lane changing or manoeuvring, it gives you a lot of confidence driving the car. I mean, also, whilst it's a very heavily equipped car, it's a car that you can jump in and drive straight away, or after a couple of days, you've pretty much mastered it. It becomes second nature very quickly indeed. It's all very kind of user-friendly. Sat-nav is a doddle to use by modern standards again. It's so nice and easy, better than the newer versions in my opinion. You've got dual zone climate control, so you have different temperatures side to side if you so wish, and that pumps out lovely cold air. We checked that in a very warm workshop earlier. Heated seats again, working exactly as they're meant to, so you have a mildly warm backside or a roasting hot one. Dash binnacle in front is your classic Honda affair, simple, beautifully detailed, and dead easy to take the information in. And then you've got this lovely small diameter leather-bound steering wheel, which, you know, shows absolutely no wear. The buttons have got no plastic rubbed off them. The leather works really nice, no ring marks. As I said, it's in beautiful condition in here, as I said in the walk-around video. This is a four-wheel drive version of the CR-V, albeit there are no buttons to press. You don't do anything. It's genius, the system, really. Honda used it years ago, certainly when I was working at Honda. So basically it runs pretty much the whole time as it is right now in front wheel drive only, so two-wheel drive. It's the most efficient way to pull a car along. Should you lose traction, it instantly brings in the rear wheels seamlessly to give you four-wheel drive, and I've used it, you know, snow, particularly when we turn the caravan at this time of year across some pretty muddy pitches. I've never come close to getting stuck with it, and the advantage of it not being on the whole time is abundantly clear. You're going to use less fuel, you're going to get through your tyres far less quickly than with a permanent four-wheel drive system, which scrubs them more readily, and there's a lot less mechanical stress put through the vehicle as a result of that. You know, I cannot remember in 2.5 decades of selling these cars ever putting a spanner on a four-wheel drive system with one, so they are very robust indeed. As I said at the start of the video, the point of it, brief as it might be, is just to show the car operating. There is nothing, there's no issues at all with the car. It drives absolutely beautifully. Having said that, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to obviously give us a call.